I don't like starting Infodump is like hard because usually when I get into my rambles, it's always like I just like recall something. I'm like, oh, that's just like
Ah.
Bloodborne. Did you know? um, but Shiver, if you want to join, you're welcome to,
Yeah.
fellow Bloodborne enjoyer. But Bloodborne is my favorite FromSoft game, obviously. Um, I have played it 10 billion times. I also try to speedrun it. That's my goal, is I'm learning how to speedrun Bloodborne. I got all the achievements in the game. Platinumed it. Never again. Um, I've done a bunch of challenge runs, arcane only, like certain weapons only runs. Uh, no weapons, items only. A little goofy stuff like that. Uh, it's a good game. Um, if anybody doesn't know what Bloodborne is, it's Dark Souls, but like Victorian with guns, and it takes place in like not London, but it's London. It's British.
Yeah.
I love Victorian and not London. Yeah, it's not London, but winks at you. It is London, pretty much.
Yeah, London's
But
just
that's
based on
kind of cool
Bloodborne.
about it. It's England. Come on, England. But the whole thing of Bloodborne. Okay, so you wake up
Hey,
and
man.
you're this hunter. Well, you get a job as a
Water.
hunter. Because you go to Yarnum because they're doing this fancy blood healing, right? And this blood is like supposed to be like not magical, but it heals a lot of ailments. So you take blood and you sign a contract to go fight beasts. People joke that it's a game about paying off your medical bills, and it's kind of what Bloodborne is. You're paying off your medical bills with killing beasts. And one of the best things about Bloodborne is that it starts off like, hee hee, go kill werewolves and spooky dudes and trolls. And then like halfway through it's like, just kidding, there's aliens now and also celestial beings and cosmic horror. It's so good. Like we don't see like any instance of like aliens or weird critters until we enter the forest, because there's this like tucked away part of the forest that you can fall into or find by exploring, where we see the little alien guys, the celestial emissaries, and they're so out of place because it's a forest full of like snakes and like snake dudes. It's really dark and grimy, and then you find this little area with a bunch of like blue wobbly aliens who shoot laser beams and shit. It's so cool.
That's where we got to.
That's what you got to. And like a lot of people, I guess like this is just how every FromSoft game is, to be fair, where like the lore and the story, they're there. And like if you listen to the NPC dialogue and read all the items and stuff, you'll learn it. But if you just play through the game, you get like the very like surface level story, you know. So a lot of people who play Bloodborne like, haha, what the hell just happened? And it's like, I can tell you what happened. Because every ending of Bloodborne is like whack as shit. Like there's 3 endings, and I think the true ending is obviously the best one. The other 2 are just like, whatever. They're good, but yeah, people are like, why the hell do you become a slug at the end of the game? It's like, would you like to know? Because I can just tell you exactly why you become a slug at the end of the game. The real question is, are you ending the cycle or will this happen again? I mean, I think it depends on the ending you get, but every single ending, I think, even the true ending, the cycle restarts at the end of the game. Because spoilers, one ending is you take Gehrman's place in the dream and you're like the new person that takes over. Or the other ending is you just like wake up the next day and go about your business. But like that is also just kind of repeating the same cycle because nothing really changes. And then in the true ending, you become a little great one, a little baby great one. So it's all gonna happen again, in my opinion. Like the little guys that let you save. Oh, the messengers. Yeah, those are lovely dudes. They're called messengers, and they're little nasty critters that hang around the lanterns. And they're just there to like worship the hunter and help you merge between the dream and the waking world. It's pretty cool. They're lovely. They're like the few innocent beings in Bloodborne. They love their hats. Yeah, they love their
God,
hats.
I do love finding the little hats for him.
Mm-hmm. Um, One thing I really enjoy about Bloodborne 2 is like since it's supposed to be Victorian era inspired, like a lot of the medicine and like ways that they do things in the game is just like how it just like kind of goes into how messed up medicine was back in that time with like just how intense it was. Like between there's like leeches or you can drink lead in the game, which is also just a thing they did back then. There's this item, lead elixir, which you can drink, and I never use it because it makes you slow, and I hate being slow in every FromSoft game. You won't catch me dead being slow in those games. Always go fast. Also on top of Gehrman killing us, well, yeah, you can just smack Gehrman. Did you know you can just attack Gehrman before entering the boss fight? It doesn't change anything, but it's really funny and you can do it. It won't like whittle his health down, but you can do it. It's so hard to like just talk about it.
Yeah, I think I know the answer to this. But who's your favorite boss and why?
I mean, it's Vakar Amelia and also Ludwig. Vakar Amelia is just really cool because that's like when I think that's when we first, well, no, that's a lie. We see Gascoigne turn into like a beast, but he's like a humanoid beast combo. He's like a dude. But like Vakar Amelia is the first time we see like a full-fledged like beast transformation. And she's so neat. Like we enter this giant church and she's like praying in front of this altar with like Lawrence's skull. And then she just becomes like a giant wailing beast. Oh, and the music is really good. And she's got the iconic like the speech where she's like, beware the frailty of men, which is like the warning about succumbing to the beasthood, which I think is really cool because she does it anyway. Where it's like I think the speech is like, beware the frailty of men, their wills are weak, minds young, or something, and then she becomes a beast herself. Ludwig is, I think he is my favorite boss. I call Vakar my wife because she is just a really cool monster. But Ludwig is really cool because I think a lot of the game builds up to his boss fight. Because we meet him as it's insane. He's the first boss in the DLC, like, hello? The DLC just opens with the coolest boss fight in the whole game, in my opinion. But not only that, when we enter the DLC, it's like, I don't want to spoil it too much for you. I know you've seen me play it a billion times, but you know how I am.
Yeah.
But there's like this river of blood in the entire area we're in, and you don't really think a lot of it. It's like, oh yeah, blood. What else is new? But the river of blood leads into his boss fight room because his boss fight location is literally called Underground Corpse Pile, which is like a really cool metal band name, by the way. But it all leads into Ludwig, and I think his full boss name is Ludwig the Accursed. Well, he's got two boss names. I need to look them up now, I forget. Yeah, he becomes Ludwig the Holy Blade. But Ludwig is, his boss theme, like we already know FromSoft's like entire soundtrack goes in every single game. But God, Ludwig's song and the way it changes in the phase 2 with the choir and everything is so good. But we don't really know a lot about Ludwig. Like, you only hear talk about him a little, and in the intro cutscene to his boss fight, we hear a little bit of info about him. And in his post-boss fight dialogue, he talks a little bit about like his past. But what you do know is that he was part of the Healing Church. So he was in like the first like crusade against the Scourge of Beasts and stuff. And the running theory is that when he did succumb to like the Scourge, he was riding his horse, so they merged together into one monster, which I think is so gross because he's really gross. Like, Ludwig is like this merge of some weird like leech with eyes on the inside of it, a horse, and then him a human. Which, by the way, fun fact, because FromSoft, especially Bloodborne, takes a lot from Berserk, his horse design is based on the creepy horse from Berserk. If you know, you know. Don't look it up. It's kind of gross. But there's like a notoriously really creepy horse in Berserk, and he looks just like it. What I really like about Ludwig too is, I mean, a lot of Bloodborne's theming is around like humanity and like holding on to that. So he is like constantly grappling with like trying to fight off becoming full beast and also a human. Which I guess some people can find his dialogue to be kind of goofy because he does like talk to you while also like making horse sounds. It's kind of silly, but if you like play in the space for a bit, it's really cool. He's like struggling to try and still hold on to what little humanity's left within him. But yeah, I always also, because you can, he asks you a question after you beat him, and you can choose to like lie to him or not. I always choose to lie to him to make him like die with some sliver of happiness still. Um, I think one of the coolest things too about Ludwig is like the Moonlight Greatsword is like a iconic item that's in every single FromSoft game. And that's how we find it is it's on his back through the whole boss fight, and then in phase 2 he pulls it out like it's nothing and it's glowing and it's so pretty. What a cool reveal. And he's like, "Oh, my guiding moonlight." Um I love him. His entire everything is so fucking cool. He is such a cool character. It's both him and Lawrence who are these two like really important characters in the game. We don't really get like a lot of information about. We get more about Lawrence than we do Ludwig. But it's just really cool to hear these names in this game the whole time. DLC happens and we see them as they are now, which are these like gross, like terrible beasts and stuff. I love this video game so much. So yeah, those are my two favorite bosses: is Vicar Amelia and Ludwig. Vicar Amelia also, she's like one of the, I believe, the cleric's like a high-ranking person in the Healing Church, but all the clerics are like doomed to become beasts in the end. So we fight the cleric beast on the bridge, like the first boss fight you can get to. And then Vicar Amelia becomes one as well. And she's praying at the altar with Lawrence's skull on it. And Lawrence is the first Vicar, so he's like the first cleric beast in the game. You fight him in the DLC, and he's this like, oh my god, you're gonna shit when you see the boss fight, because when you go into it, he's like slouched like on an altar. It's very like religious imagery, which I'm always a slut for.
Yeah.
Like he's draped over this like statue holding him. And he's got like nails in his body. Like, are you kidding me? It's in a church and he's on fire. It's so good. And Lawrence is a rig of the iconic cutscene where it's like, we are born of the blood, made men by the blood. Because the cutscene that we saw after we fought Vicar Amelia is Master Willem of Bergenworth warning Lawrence about the old blood and its consequences. Because he knows the dangers of it, despite being one of the people who actually found the first instance of the blood. And that's all we hear about Lawrence for a bit until we get to the DLC and find him as he is now, which is like a big beast. It's really cool. Oh my god, his theme too. Jester, I was gonna call you out because I know you love his theme. His theme slaps because it does that thing I love where it brings back other themes in the game. So it calls back to like the cleric beast theme, I think, is what it does. And I know a lot of FromSoft games do this too, but the Latin in his song like tells his story. Oh, chills. It's so good. The boss fight itself, I'd rather eat glass than do it again. It's so hard. But it's really good. It's really worth it. Hi, Shiver.
Hello.
Hi.
God damn it.
I'm mostly going to be playing kind of a backseat to this, but I love all this discussion we're having so far.
Yeah.
I was gonna also mention the song for Lawrence because it I don't think the cleric beast bit comes until after a long, like,
Mm-hmm.
very kind of somber, just like almost hymn being sung
Yeah,
for a while,
it
and then it
is like a
goes to the
hymn.
yeah, and it goes to the
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, and then
Oh,
it like gets sad after that because it's like
it's sad. Like, he's a sad character.
is because I'm pretty sure he's like where it all started. I think, right?
I think so. Because again, like I think Lawrence. I could be wrong about this. Because um, the way Bloodborne began is like a group of Bergenwere scholars. So
Yeah.
Master Willem, Mikolash. I think Lawrence was there too. And it's speculated that I know Carol was there. Carol who makes the runes. She was there too.
Oh.
There's speculation too that Gehrman was also one of the people who went to the Chalice dungeons, the Marion dungeons,
Mhm.
and they find a great one, or a
Great
great old one. The theory is that it was a Brittis they found, and they
Mm.
take her blood, which this is kind of nasty. But the theory is the blood they found was menstrual blood from the
Oh
old
yeah.
one. So that's like the running theory of what the actual blood is.
Mhm.
And they find this blood in the Thumerian dungeons, and they bring it back to Yarnum, and that's how everything goes wrong. But Master Willem knows the danger of the blood, so he tries to warn Lawrence. But Lawrence is like, I'm gonna go anyway. What could possibly go wrong? And then everything goes wrong. Because again, like Willem's how we get the password to the forest, which is fear the old blood. Like,
Mhm.
don't take that, and they do. But Willem also kind of sucks because it's also theorized that Master Willem is who made Rom what Rom is, which is a baby
Yep.
who they put eyeballs inside of, and then she became a mindless little spider. That her entire purpose is to like block the world from seeing how it is, which is why when you kill her, the red moon or the blood moon rises and stuff, and
Mhm.
everything goes bad. So everyone in that game kind of sucks. There's a few good
Yeah.
people, but
Yeah. It's kind of a tragic game overall.
it is like Bergenworth especially is like terrible, which is why it's like hidden away because the Bergenworth scholars did like a bunch of really bad stuff, especially to the fishing hamlet and to Koss.
Mhm.
That's a whole thing too. Did you know a fun Bloodborne fact? All the levels of Bloodborne are like stacked vertically on top of each other.
Oh.
So, one of the things that gets brought up in the DLC is you'll talk to these patients and they'll be like, I hear the sound of water. Which is partially because the Great Ones are said to speak in water noises, but also because they're below the fishing hamlet, which is a
Mhm.
watery, it's a whaling village. So they're hearing the water droplets from what's above them. And in the DLC as well, when you're walking around a certain area, this like woman drops from the sky and she's like a snail lady from the
Yeah.
watery area.
Oh.
So like Bloodborne is literally stacked on top of each other. Like every
Mhm.
level is like below or above itself.
Huh.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah, isn't like the main game a lot of going down
It's like going
and the
down, yeah, and
DLC
then
is kind of going
up.
upwards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. Like you can see, even in the base game before the DLC came out, when you go to the Nightmare Frontier, if you look to your right when you exit out of the entrance, you can see the ships that belong to the fishing hamlet in the DLC, whaling ships.
Mhm.
And those whaling ships are the ones that killed Koss, the great old one. And that's why she's washed up on shore and births her son, the orphan of Koss.
Can't you also see those like bits of the ships off in the distance in the Hunter's Dream?
Mm-hmm. I think
Yeah.
so.
So
Oh.
it's like another connection with uh, the Hunter's Dream specifically, who was in the Hunter's Dream.
Yeah, so when you find like Koss, the great old one, she's like washed up on shore and she's dead, with like harpoons in her body
Mhm.
because like the fishing hamlet people, or I think the Bergenwere scholars like killed her. And they find that she's like full of parasites, which are the phantasms, which are like these little magical dudes that they use for a lot of bad things.
Mm.
Hence, the entire fishing hamlet was essentially slaughtered by the Bergenwer scholars and used for experimentation. Which is why when you enter the area first, there's a guy who's like Bergenworth, a bloodthirsty something. He's like talking about how they're bad people.
Mhm.
Cool, gross Bloodborne fact. The item you get in the fishing hamlet is called the Accursed Brew. It's a skull that's like emptied out because when they overtook the hamlet, they scooped out everyone's eyeballs for science.
Huh.
You
Yeah,
do find those eyeballs in the is it the study hall or not study hall?
the research hall.
Yeah, the research hall. You
Yeah,
just find a bunch of jars that are just
yeah, you
full
find
of
a
eyeballs.
bunch of jars of eyeballs.
Yep.
Yeah, the eyeball theme is like crazy in Bloodborne because not only is it everywhere, but it's got different context in different areas.
Hmm.
Like we have insight, which is like how the player sees all the whack shit in the game. Um, and a lot of the beasts and characters have their eyes either taken out or covered by like veils and blindfolds because they think that like shielding their eyes like brings them closer to like the knowledge stuff. And then we have the crows who peck out eyeballs. We have the
Mm.
witches covered in eyeballs. So gross. And then we have the research people in Bergenworth using eyes to put inside their brains.
This is kind of like a surface level like fun fact, but the pebbles you get from crows are shaped like
Eyeballs.
eyeballs.
Yeah, they're dried eyeballs.
So I asked Jackie, now I'm gonna ask you, Shiver,
Mhm.
who's your favorite boss and why?
I had to like go through and like look them up again because it's been a
Yeah.
hot minute since I've
Mhm.
played, but that doesn't change how much I love the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously Vicar Amelia's up there. I don't know. Gascoigne's such a. I mean, Gascoigne's technically the first boss you fight that you have to fight at least.
Yeah.
Most people go for the cleric beast first because it's closer technically. But seeing someone transform in front of you mid fight is it just sets like not the tone of the whole game, but a good chunk of like more of what's to come in the immediate area. And the fact that I'm pretty sure you get more insight when he transforms,
You do.
which just ties more into that seeing more and going, being more aware of what's happening. Yeah, I'd say it's between Father Gascoigne and Vicar Amelia.
That's a good choice. I love Gascoigne. Like his story is like so good too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One boss that always interested me, this goes into like cut content stuff, because I don't know how much of it was gonna exist or not, but I'm pretty sure someone found in the game there's this like really, I don't know if I can mention this boss or not if it's spoilers.
You can go for it.
It's the moon presence, but it's all decrepit and like broken apart. Like,
Oh, the
almost like
beta moon presence?
yeah.
Yeah, you can
And
see that in the dungeons with the
yeah,
glyphs.
so I don't know if it's implied that like this is like the actual version of it that is in the Chalice dungeons. But it has its own specific arena that's almost like reminiscent of the one Reborn fight. Or
Yeah.
not Reborn, the Orphan of Kos.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I've
and
always
it was
wanted to go to those chalices, but I hear they can corrupt your save file if you're not careful enough. So I'm like,
yeah,
I'm
I
scared.
I rely on videos for that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mentioned before how the chalice dungeons are like the procedural like dungeons you can go into in Bloodborne. They're really cool. A lot of people don't like them. I get it. But through exploration of those dungeons, people have found not just like new enemies that like aren't in the game or the base game, but people find like alpha or cut content in there too. I recently discovered on the Bloodborne subreddit there was like Great Old One Cold Blood, which gives you like
Oh,
50,000 blood echoes when you get it,
jeez,
and you can just get that in the dungeons.
interesting.
And people find like boss fights that were cut or
Even like enemies too.
Yeah, like I think one of the more recent discoveries was like a little slug dude you can find in the dungeons, and
Yeah.
it'll like The way it attacks you, it just like eats you and then like shits you out, and it's like, okay,
Oh
cool,
yeah.
thank you FromSoft.
I swear I ran into one of those when I played like my
Mhm.
first playthrough. Just like messing around with challenge dungeons. Because I
Yeah.
remember that happening to me.
Yep. Yeah, I also like Marta Ligaria's comment. I love like Canehurst Castle is a really cool part of Bloodborne
Mm.
because it is again the same joke of it's my favorite Dark Souls 3 part of Bloodborne because Canehurst is just Dark Souls 3.
Yeah.
It's so it feels so out of place, but like in a good way. Because the
If you
Vile
like, yeah.
Bloods. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, if you like vampires
Yeah, if
at
you like
all, and
vampires
yeah,
and
it's literally
castles.
that.
Yeah, because the thing about you meet Alfred, Mr. Alfred, the executioner, and he's like, I'm gonna go kill the Vile Bloods for Marta Ligarius, because the Vile Bloods suck. The Vile Bloods, as far as I know, one of the Healing Church members defected and went to Canehurst and then brought back blood there, and they were like, this is bad. And they went
Mhm.
and killed everyone in Canehurst. Like, I mean,
Oh.
everyone got slaughtered.
Uh-huh.
Which is why when you go there, you find these women who are ghosts and they're like bound in chains and they have their throats slit because they beheaded like everyone in Canehurst.
Mhm.
Which is also why in Alfred's little wheel he has, there's like strands of white hair stuck in this. What do you call those like things in the wheel? The spokes, whatever,
Mm.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But he talks about like Master Ligarius, like this really cool dude, and then you find him, and he's like just a decrepit skeleton man
Yeah.
on top of a rooftop. It's such an out of the way fight.
Uh-huh.
Like you have to really look for this. And then when you get to it, it's like you put on his little crown, and there's like a whole new section where you go talk to Annalise, the queen, which is where you can give the ring to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they don't call them vampires, but I think the Vile Bloods
Yeah.
are in fact vampires.
I mean, there's a
There are other
specific
vampires
enemy.
enemies, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, in that area, there's like an enemy called, I'm pretty sure it's just a bloodsucker.
Yeah, the bloodsuckers are there.
And they're just like these little, like, not little, but like they're just like these tick-looking enemies.
Hmm.
Um, and they have like long tongues, and they're really skinny when you find them in Canehurst, because there hasn't been anything for them to eat,
Yep.
because everyone's dead. But when you see them in the Old Hunters DLC,
They're
there's
fat as
just a
hell. There's
huge.
so much blood.
They're giant and just
Mhm.
full of blood because they're just near a blood river. So I assume
Yeah.
they're very well fed there.
The fun lore about the bloodsuckers, they literally only appear in places of like mass like
Hmm.
death. That's all. That's how they appear. Is like if a lot of blood, there they are. They're also the unclassified third type of enemy in the game called vermin. So there's
Mm.
beast and kin enemies, and then we meet Mr. Voltier, who's like, I'm here to kill vermin. You're like, what's vermin? It's those things and other stuff too.
And also, they suck to fight. Oh my god,
My
I hate
god, they're
them.
the worst. They're
They
so
just
fast and
bounce.
jumpy.
They jump everywhere.
I try to avoid attacking them because I think they're gross.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you steer clear of them. You just go straight to the front door.
Hmm. And then scream until it opens because it
Yeah.
opens really slowly. Let me in. I'm scared.
It's like, yeah, I'm invulnerable, but it's not gonna happen forever.
Do I know a cool Bloodborne fact? Of course you do.
Yes.
Do you know the name Gehrman is a reference to a fertility ritual that involves burying a doll? Which makes
Oh.
sense because
Oh.
he makes the doll
Huh.
in the dream.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I want to just hear you like rapid fire trivia.
Okay.
That's a
Let
good
me
way to
think.
get more talking points.
Yeah. Oh, I'm on the spot. Let me think about trivia. I have so much of it.
I have one if you don't got
Yes, please.
one. So I'm pretty sure the inspiration for the symbol of Bloodborne, like the line with the two
Oh,
like cyborg
yeah.
marks on it, is inspired by I don't know if this is the actual term, but it's for like bloodletting, which involves, I'm pretty sure I'm going off of like theory videos and stuff like that at this point. Involves like cutting the throat and turning them upside down and tying their hands together to drain their body of blood.
Yeah.
And the symbol looks very much like that.
Yeah, you can find a bunch of bodies in Bloodborne that are hanging in that exact same position, making the same symbol. It's also a Berserk reference because it's the brand of sacrifice from Berserk, but
Oh.
altered a bit.
It's also a tarot reference.
Oh!
Because it's supposed to be the Hanged Man tarot.
Oh my
let's
god.
go!
So many layers.
This is like also like basic-ish trivia, but we find these enemies called the Winter Lanterns in Bloodborne, which are the giant walking brains who sing and cause you frenzy. They are wearing the same outfit as the doll in the dream.
Oh.
Yeah. They're also apparently based on a certain type of flower with the word lantern in its name, but I don't know flower stuff. But it's pretty cool.
They are very like flower-like.
Yeah. There's the obvious trivia I talk about all the time about the moon being in front of the clouds, which is pretty cool. The moon is a 3D object in a 2D skybox, which is also really cool. It's just a big old sphere in the skybox, which that's pretty neat. I like that.
Just like an eyeball.
Just like an eyeball. Everything's eyes in Bloodborne.
Everything's eyes.
Have we mentioned Frenzy yet?
We haven't, no.
Frenzy is a gauge that will show up for certain enemies when you see them or when you get attacked by them. It's just a gauge that goes up slowly. And if it maxes out, you just explode with blood.
Yeah.
It's real. I really like the animation that happens because when the bar goes up, there's like spikes of blood that just pop out of you like over time.
Yeah.
And this is especially true with the Winter Lanterns because I think it's implied that it was their attempt to kind of make their own doll, and the hunter seeing that just drives them to madness. Especially because the Winter Lanterns are very tall, which is kind of like our doll is also very tall.
Yeah, she's very tall. There is some implication that Gehrman doesn't have any insight, which is why he talks about the doll as just being a doll and not like a living being, which I think is kind of cool. Obviously, it's fucked up and gross because the doll is modeled after a certain character in the game that he used to apprentice when they were like still active hunters. And of course, it's creepy. There's other implications that are not PG-14, so.
Yep.
But that's interesting. Gehrman is like the worst.
I swear there's like a fact with like how, I don't know if all of the Hold Hunter garbs have this, but they often have like a belt wrapped around, I think it's the right foot, and Gehrman's actually missing his right leg. Foot.
Yeah.
And I think that was like an old-fashioned like form of medical treatment or something like that. Like the beast hood would rise through your right foot or something like that.
Yes, they'll try and like amputate it before it spreads. Which is why Gehrman, I think Gehrman's missing part of his right leg.
Yeah. I swear he just doesn't have a right foot.
Yeah, it's something like that.
He's like a peg leg.
Oh god, let me think of some other fun Bloodborne facts. There's a boss you can find, Abritus, who her location is called the Altar of Despair, and it's implied it looks like she's praying in front of Rom's corpse, and people think that they're connected, and she's trying to bring her friend back because you have to meet her after you kill Rom, so she's like praying there, and she's not hostile until you hit her, so you're just like entering this girl's space and then making her fight. She's the cool, like, really cosmic horror looking girl with tentacles and the face filled with eyeballs and stuff.
Yeah.
I love her.
Trying to think. Because you saw this in your playthrough, how Rom is like the only enemy that won't start fighting you until you attack them for the first time. Because they're very much kind of a victim in this situation.
Yeah, because Rom's like a baby, and vacuous literally means like no thoughts, head empty. Because like she's like a brain dead like orphan. Because a lot of I think it was Bergenworth scholars did experiment on like orphan children, which is why when you enter the upper healing church, you find like all these like gross little alien creatures. and they're little babies.
Mm.
And did you know that they're always facing towards Abritus, the boss fight in the area? So they're always like looking where she is.
That's so cool.
Yeah. This is also a cool fact that you would know if you watch any Zuli video ever, but the brain suckers, little nasty dudes that like suck out your insight, they've got brain surgery scars on the top of their heads. So when they go to suck out your insight, that like flap opens and the like tentacle comes out and like sucks your brain.
And steals your insight.
And steals your insight. It's like every FromSoft game has like a thing that steals your stuff. Like I think Dark Souls 3 has those gross hand babies with the teeth who like take your souls.
Oh god.
I know Elden Ring has a rune stealing guy, and then Bloodborne has the insight stealers. Those bastards, yeah. I also just really like a lot of the characters in the game. Like I love Jira, the Gatling gun guy on top of the big building, because like his whole thing is he used to be part of the Powder Kegs, which are a group of hunters whose entire thing was, let's explode all the beasts with fire. How about that, guys?
Yeah.
And then he realized, like, all these beasts they're hunting, like, they had to be human at some point. So now he wants to protect all the beasts from other hunters, which is why he wants to stop you when you enter Old Yarnum, because he is there to protect these once human critters, and also the Bloodstar beast, too. The theory is that the Bloodstar beast used to be another powder keg, so that's why he wants to protect them.
Checks out.
Yeah. I know you can like be Jira's friend, but I always forget how and end up killing him.
I think you literally just have to go like that secret entrance. You just gotta go the other way entirely.
Yeah.
Which I think involves going to Yahar'gul. And then killing, what's his name? What's his goofy name we always give him? The skeleton guy.
Skeleton guy?
Carl.
Carl. Yeah, Dark Beast Carl.
Yes, if you kill Dark Beast Carl, and then you'll end up below Old Yarnum, I think, by the cleric or by the Bloodstar Beast. But if you don't go towards that and go back, you'll end up back at Old Yarnum, but on the other side.
Ooh, another fun Bloodborne fact. You get this from the doll if you talk to her enough. But all the gravestones in the dream are from the past hunters who died before you. She'll like mention that as like a fun little thing.
Doesn't she show up somewhere different when you do New Game Plus and playing? That's like your gravestone she's at.
Yeah, that's the theory. Is that when you wake up again, she's at your gravestone praying.
Yeah.
Which you can find her like in like a regular run. She'll like often appear in front of the DLC headstone and be praying there, which has fun implications because of who you meet in the DLC.
Also, what's sitting at the gravestone to further imply.
Because when you go to the real workshop in the main game inside the healing church, you can find the old hunter bone there, and also her clothing or the doll outfit, which is you can spend for buku bucks.
New talking point. Just because I know we love their theme song. I know I said theme song, like their soundtrack theme. Living Failures.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Like there's no reason for that song to go as hard as it does.
It feels so...
But it's insane.
Like John Williams almost. I don't know if it's John Williams, but it's just like... There's a specific like sci-fi kind of sounding like orchestral thing that it just sounds so much like, and it just goes off into this kind of realm of like space. And they get such an intense song.
And like, oh my god. Like I was a choir kid for 4 years. I am not immune to an extremely good chorus and choir song.
Yeah.
Like it's so good.
It's
and
so
like
good. Oh my god.
Just that boss fight. I don't enjoy it in particular.
No.
I'd rather not have to do it every time I play the game. It is what it is. But oh man, they make up for it in that soundtrack.
Oh, they also make for what happens directly after that room.
Yeah.
like
it's really like the entrance to the boss fight's really cool because you go through the whole research hall, and like that's fine. And then you meet the girl. She's like, "I have failed. Please forgive me, Lady Maria." And you're like, "Oh, what happened?" open the door. Well, that happened. And there's like nasty little gross
Oh no.
stains. Because like there's a lot of like failed attempts at making great ones in the game.
A
Between like
lot.
yeah, like between Rom, between you at the end of the game becoming a great one, and Living Failures, and all the Patience of Bergenworth's experiments. But still, like it's also kind of funny too, because Living Failures are like, again, they're nothing. But then they are like, summon crystal, attack you. It's like, oh, okay. Now I'm
Changes
scared.
entire boss fight arena to a galaxy looking place.
Yeah, that's my favorite song in the game by far is the Living Failures theme, because I just get chills, and I make people listen to it all the time when they bring it up. I'm like, oh, do you want to hear it? Too bad, here you go. You will listen to this song and you will get goosebumps.
I watch a YouTuber named Davi Vask, I think his name is. And he analyzes a bunch of video game soundtracks without like knowing anything about it, but he can like analyze it like very perfectly without even playing the game, just because he's just cool like that. And he pretty much did almost not all of the Bloodborne soundtrack, but a lot of like the very memorable ones. And for the Living Failures fight, he actually like pulls up a song that probably takes inspiration from. And he describes it as kind of like a mad scientist kind of like experiment kind of situation, because there's like slight notes of happiness going on, as if like, we did it, or something, like mad scientist kind of vibes.
Yeah.
I just like watching like song analysis, especially for like video game stuff. I don't know like anything about like music theory or anything like that.
Me neither.
But hear someone like explain it back to me, I'm like, oh yeah, that does feel like melancholic or scary and spooky.
Yeah. I love watching people talk about music, so I don't know anything about music, so I'm like, yeah, let me hear about it.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say about Bloodborne, it's the only FromSoft game where I fucking hate patches. Like I learned about Patch's lore, and I was like, okay, I get it. He's a guy who wants to punish you for being greedy. That's pretty cool. It's a good story. It's a good character base. But in Bloodborne, he's a nasty little spider, and it doesn't do anything to benefit the player. He's just there to be ugly. It's
he's almost there just to be, hey, Patches, look, it's Patches.
Oh, Patches here. Yeah, like he couldn't have done any. Yeah, Bloodborne Patches can go to hell no matter what. Like he's the worst.
Like who knows? We probably missed out a lot of stuff on like cut content and things that didn't make it into the full game.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like there was. I mean, he clearly has some connection to Amygdala.
Yeah.
In some way, because
he has that line, he's like,
the one...
Amygdala, have mercy on the poor bastards.
And he also gives you the tonsil stone.
Yeah, he does.
In certain circumstances. So it's like, what's this dude's connection?
The thing about it, too, is we don't see any other of these gross spider guys unless in the Nightmare of Mensis, you go to that back area to release the living... oh my god, what is it called? The giant brain. The brain of Mensis. You only see more of those spider guys if you go to that, like, way back road area to release the brain. So it's like, what's the connection there to... America, explain. What's happening?
Also, I really like Amygdala, and especially all the other types of Amygdala, because the one we, like, directly interact with doesn't have tentacles for some reason, and the one we fight as well. They're just so interesting. Like they're just like this giant, like crazy looking creatures, like straight out of like gothic horror kind of concepts and stuff like that. It's just, it's so cool, and I really like the fight theme when you fight them.
Oh yeah,
it's I don't know, I can't really describe like the feeling of the song, but it just feels so like mysterious. And you've like been seeing these creatures for at least I don't know how many times exactly, but you've just been near them this whole time, and now it's just like this big moment of like, oh my god, I'm fighting one now. Oh no.
Yeah. I love it because, you know, obviously the amygdala is like the fear center of your brain. So like having a whole character around that is so cool, especially when you only can see them if you have enough insight or it's past the blood moon.
I'm pretty sure they have 6 fingers too. I don't know what the lore implication is for that.
Ooh.
You'll see it in the art book. I don't know if you're getting the art.
Oh my god, I forgot they had the art book. I haven't opened it yet.
Yeah, look at those.
I want to
pages.
open it
They're
on
very
stream.
cool.
That's why I'm waiting to
Yeah.
open it and show it out to people.
I love it. Yeah.
It's a big fucking book too.
It's a
She's
lot.
heavy and she's large.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, Bloodborne's a really good game.
Bloodborne, you should play it.
Everyone should play Bloodborne. I'm so normal about it.
Pop out your Bloodborne playing machine and play Bloodborne.
That is all I use my PS4 for now.
Yeah.
Kicking my feet.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you. After Cringemas, we're gonna pick Bloodborne back up.
Yay!
And it's gonna be
I gotta get me and Pax to play too.
Me playing through the game and Jackie reacting to it.
And infodumping even more.
Yeah.
Y'all are welcome to stick around. But Carl's gonna join us to talk about Star Wars.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.